I'm here at a large winery, and this is a real world situation that I dealt with about a decade ago, actually around 2011. We started off at this winery. They invited me out for lighting design. And at the time, they just had the wine tasting barn and the residential house. And they had told me they were planning on expanding. So as a lighting designer and a little ADHD that I see all these opportunities for lighting, it took me a little while to take everything in, to look to see what the plans are, what the designs would look like, what the structures would look like. The first thing that I like to do is I like to walk around the property, but then I'm really starting to look at the viewing angles. That's really one of the first things that we consider in lighting. On a project of this scale and scope, there's so many different scenes that can be created. We have a pond over here, we have beautiful arborvitaes on the side, we have beautiful flowers and bushes and patios, and there's so much out here that can really distract. And when you look at a space like this, it's so easy to look at the hills behind us, the trees that we could never get to if we even wanted to, and start thinking of like how much we could do in lighting and how would we accomplish all this. But if you look at this scene from this viewing angle, you could see that everything is leading down to the pond. The second viewing angle is over by the tasting barn, and they're looking at the pond from a different perspective. So in my lighting design, I want to stand at those two spots and take in what I'm seeing. On that side, the main feature focus I'm visually creating a destination for is the wine cave. Built into the side of that hill is a stone wall that's got a wine cave into it. On this side, it's not even visible. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing the most of, it's drawing attention, is the fountain. This case, they wanted to keep the fountain on. So we had to look at different things that they could do for lighting on the fountain, but then how do we start building out the base around that? How do we create the scene that's bringing the eyes down into the pond? And things that I would love to light, this little bridge, this waterfall over here, from this viewpoint and from where people are sitting, they don't really see it. So we have to make sure we don't create distractions, but we're guiding somebody's eye to a visual destination, and that's going to be the dead center into the fountain and around the pond, and that's where we want to bring people. After that, it's darkness, and I'm okay with that. I know it's tempting to keep going on and on, but the big thing that we want to do is if we don't provide lighting past this point right here, then all of that goes dark at night. And if you're sitting on the patio, it's visually uncomfortable to sit here. To stare into darkness isn't going to create an atmosphere that people feel comfortable, want to engage in, and want to linger and stay long. So if you're looking at lighting design, you start off with your visual destination, you're starting off with your viewing angles and how you're going to create that scene. Don't let yourself get so distracted with every little scene. Tackle each section of the property as its own lighting design, and then build from there and start building everything out. There are so many opportunities for lighting that you could overwhelm the client and you could overwhelm yourself. So slow down on your lighting designs, take your time, look at the viewing angles, look at the visual destinations you're going to want to create. Use darkness. It's okay to have darkness. You don't have to connect everything together. You can have visual destinations on the side, but we're ultimately leading somebody's eyes to the place that we want them to land the final destination on. And in this scene, that's what I would do here. So what I recommended to this client at the time is in the first section we began, we made the wine cave the visual destination. From this viewing angle that we're looking at here, we're gonna make the back of the pond. I actually recommended for them to shut the fountain off every night so we get the still water and get the reflective look. They don't often do that, but that was my recommendation. After that, we started building upon creating the scene. And from that point, we could look at other cues. The bridge going down here is a beautiful bridge, but it's not seen from many angles. So we could look at that from a safety standpoint and to create a nice highlight, but we don't want to put too many distractions in front of our actual destination we're leading somebody into. The next thing that I would like to do is a shore scraper. That's something that back in 2012, 2013, I didn't even know anything about. And Jan Moyer invented this technique. It's a beautiful way to bring light or luminaires out into the pond to highlight the shoreline. And there's a number of different viewing angles that you would consider in that, but that makes a huge difference in softening the land around the tree so we don't get that floating tree look that we so often see in landscaping. And really what I would love to do is to have that reflective quality. So we're using the pond to get that double image. So it really just accentuates and makes people feel at ease, makes people feel comfortable, brings out the natural highlights, and creates a better visual destination than they even have during the day. When we first proposed this project, the lighting cave didn't have any mulch around it. So they actually had well lights that we were going to install. We talked to them about potentially putting some mulch in to protect the luminaires, because it is an area that floods. It is an area that the lawn guys are going to go through, and it's going to be more maintenance. So they ended up putting mulch around the wine cave. We went with regular uplights, which is just easier, save the customer some money, and was a lot less maintenance for them down the road. When you find yourself coming out to a destination like this, it's so easy to get sidetracked. I remember one of my first discussions was they wanted to have a seating area on this side of the fountain, and it's natural grass, and they wanted to figure out a way to light that up. Well, it turns out they never ended up using it for that, and there's really no place that people are seeing that from either of our main viewing locations. So we ended up cutting that out after I spent hours trying to figure out how to put lights on it. So it's important to think with your client on how people are going to use the land, how they're going to use the space, and where it's most appropriate to get the most out of the lighting that you're going to design.